Hi, I'm Frank Griggs with Veterans Puppy for Life organization. I just want to take a few minutes to talk about greeting a dog. This is my service dog, Bo. A lot of times when people come up and they'll ask can I greet your puppy? And one of the things that you always want to make sure of before you even ask that is that to look at the patch. The dog will be carrying a patch somewhere on its vest, and it says either do not pet or ask to pet. Now if it says do not pet, then just don't even ask, because obviously the person is telling you that they do not want you petting their dog. And a lot of times a service dog, you need to take into consideration that it's working. Even though it may not look like it's working, it is working at that point in time. So you really want to make sure that you're not distracting the dog from what its task is. So always, number one, look at the vest and see if it says ask to pet or do not pet. And again, if it says do not pet, don't do it. Now, it's always good to ask first. A lot of times people will come up and they'll just start petting a dog, and that really does bother the person that's the handler. And it also could be dangerous for you or whomever, your child or whatever. So the first thing you always want to do is you want to ask to pet. Now, when you approach the dog to pet, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't come from the front. In dog language, coming from the front is an aggressive move. And so you don't want to do that and have the dog get into an aggressive situation. Obviously, Bo here is relaxed, but you don't want that dog to be in an aggressive mode. So don't come from the front. You always want to come from the side and then let the dog smell your hand from the side. Now I always recommend that you let them smell the top of the hand and not the bottom of the hand, the palm of the hand. The reason why it's less grab here than it is here. So you want to make sure that you let the dog smell you from the side. Now, as you're approaching the dog, one of the things that you want to do is you want to make sure that you're looking at the dog's body language. Dogs will tell you what they do and do not like. And so in the case of a dog that's going to be nervous or aggressive, there are some telltale signs that you can look for. Number one, if the dog has its ears pinned back, then it's telling you, I don't like this situation. So you need to be very, very cautious at that point in time. The other thing is that if a dog is in an uncomfortable situation, it'll do what we call lip licking, and it'll start licking its lips. And what it's basically saying is, I don't like this. Or it will turn its head away from you. And again, it's telling you, I'm not comfortable with this. The other thing that you need to be really cautious of as well is the tail. Now, you've heard the old saying that it's okay because the dog's tail is wagging. That's not true. In fact, it can be a sign that the dog is going to get aggressive, because if the tail is down, it's in a lower position, and it's doing a very shallow wagging, then that means it's not comfortable. And that it is a warning sign in some cases that the dog is going to bite. So you need to be able to read and understand the dog's body language, because they can't talk to you. They can't say, I don't like this. So ears pinned back. If their jowls are starting to show their teeth a little bit, if their tail is just doing a shallow wag, then stay away. Now, a happy dog will generally have a wide sweeping wag, and it's usually more to the left than it is to the right. The other thing that you don't want to do with a dog is make sure that you don't stare at them directly in the eyes. That's also an aggressive move in dog language. So you don't want to give the dog any concern or anything else like that. Now, when petting a dog, I see this all the time. People like to pet a dog on the top of the head. Dogs do not like to be petted on the top of the head. The reason why is because their peripheral vision only goes to about this far on the head. So they can't see back here. And if you put your hand back there, a lot of dogs that are reactive will turn around and snap. The reason why is because they don't know what's touching them. So what you want to do is make sure that when you're petting the dog, you always pet it on the side of the face or underneath the chin and along the chest here. So give it a good, nice pet. Don't pull on the ears. Only the handler should be touching the dog's ears and pulling on the ears. But just gently caress and pet the dog. And again, watch the dog's body language, because it will tell you one way or the other whether it likes it or not. This is something that your kids need to understand as well. Dogs generally do not like to be hugged. They don't like to be hugged because in dog language, what happens when two dogs get in a fight is that the one that's superior is going to pin the other one down and hold them down on the ground. And so in dog language, again, that's an aggressive move. Now, you may be able to hug your own dog, but if it's somebody else's dog, don't hug it, because you don't know how that dog is going to respond to that. So you need to be very careful with that. One other thing we want to talk about is with your dog, or with anybody's dog, for your children in particular. If a dog is coming at them and they're afraid, tell the child, do not run. If it's just coming up to sniff them and they're afraid, stand like a tree. Just stand like a tree and don't do anything. Don't make eye contact with the dog. Don't do anything. Just stand there like a tree. Normally, unless it's a vicious dog, and I have to put that disclaimer in there, unless it's a vicious dog. Normally, a dog, if it's left alone and the child doesn't run, it'll come over and sniff, and then it'll probably walk away or start wagging its tail or whatever. If the child runs, that kicks in the predatory instinct in the dog. So it's going to chase after the child if the child starts to run. So you need to teach your children, stand like a tree. Let the dog sniff you. Let it come to you if it wants to come to you, but don't you go to it. So stand like a tree and just wait. But again, if it's a vicious dog, that's when you need to step in. So anyway, hope this has been good information for you. I'm Frank Griggs with Veterans Puppy for Life organization, and we look forward to talking with you. We look forward to your support. Our goal is helping to heal wounded souls one puppy at a time. Thank you.